Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and I'm joined by Mike Jones. Hello, Mike. He's there.
Hey Dale, good evening.
Hey, and we're really upset. May not look like it, but we are. We're going to play for you a video that pretty much puts at rest all of these doubts that people had about the county officials who were levee pushers, who said, oh, it's law enforcement. That's our number one priority. That's the prime role of government, is to keep you safe. Well, as it turns out, they have an opportunity, and it's been done before. The county has a history of funding law enforcement, patrols specifically, patrols, which you say that you want, and they could do that. So what you're going to see here is a clip from the last budget session of county government. Everybody on the budget committee is a big time levee pusher, including Jim Brungbach. He was the guy that was in the front of the Mark Goins church, ready to talk to people not about Jesus but about the levee after seeing that video. And we've got Pat Fahey, perennial levee pusher, always for that kind of tax. We've got the commissioners who are leaders in this. Only one person on the budget committee. You would think with 6 members, maybe it would be evenly balanced, especially maybe a little bit more in favor of the people who always win. No, 1 out of 6. One.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy Goodwin. And so Peggy simply asked a question about something that could easily be done. It's been done before. There's no real super big controversy about why you shouldn't do it, and etc. The question is, what's more important, emergency striping on roads or law enforcement? So at the end, pay close attention to the reaction that she gets from the other budget committee members. Go ahead and play that footage, Mike.
I would like to discuss the House Bill 4175 first. For anyone who isn't familiar with that, in 2012, the state legislature passed a bill allowing 7 of the ONC counties that are in the worst financial shape, including Josephine County, to allocate or loan at their discretion monies from the road reserves fund that is paid for with federal dedicated money, to use that for patrolling the roads for public safety. And that bill sunsets in January 2nd of 2016. So this is our last opportunity. If we were to want to use some of those funds for public safety, this is our last chance to do that. Maintaining our roads is very important, and I totally agree with that. Due, I think, to the excellent management of Rob Brandis, we have our roads in this county are actually in very good condition. And if you compare the condition of our roads to the condition of our public safety, if our roads were in the same condition as our public safety department, we would have potholes downtown you could drop a truck in. We wouldn't even have gravel roads out in the county. We'd be driving on dirt. So just to compare the two funds, I think that that this is a one-shot chance that we have to allocate some money, and that money, those dedicated funds, will continue coming into the roads reserve fund year after year in perpetuity. So whatever we take out, that will be replenished. And right now, the ending balance in our roads reserve fund for this fiscal year is the highest it's ever been. It will be almost 9 times the average beginning balance over the past 5 years. That's the ending balance in this budget, the contingency in our roads reserve fund. If, and I'm just putting this out there as an if we were to allocate $1 million of that money to the sheriff for this fiscal year, our beginning balance next year in the roads reserve fund would still be over 5 times the average beginning balance in that fund over the last 5 years. It would still be the highest balance we have ever, beginning balance we've ever had in that fund up until this year. So, you know, it seems to me that given the state of our roads and the state of our public safety, and given the fact that this is our last opportunity, this is a window of opportunity that slams shut in January. And if we take into account the fact, I mean, we're always telling citizens who say, why isn't there money for public safety? It's because all the rest of the money is dedicated funds, and that's true. But the state legislature has specifically authorized us for this limited time to take some of those dedicated funds and use them for public safety. And in the past 2 years, the Budget Committee has opted not to do that. That opportunity is going away, and I just want to say I think that we should use that opportunity before it goes, because that's, if, you know, outcome-based budgeting requires that we set top-level priorities from a citizen's perspective and priorities. And I think from a citizen's perspective, I think that that public safety is a higher priority than roads. So I would like to move that we take $1 million from the Roads Reserve Fund and allocate that to public safety this year.
Nice.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Now you finally know.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is an amazing thing. And there was so many things in there. The fact that it's going to sunset at the beginning of next year and that we can't do it after that. And they still don't want to do it. The highest balance in years, the highest ending balance in years. In other words, these people, they don't need all the money that is being allocated to them. And our roads are in pretty good shape. If you didn't work on them at all for a year, there probably wouldn't be that much measurable damage done. And yet, they still won't do anything. They still won't lift a finger to make sure that some of that money goes to law enforcement, because they still want to use this club to beat us with. You know, they probably have plans for another levy to materialize almost immediately here. So,
well, one of the speculations among some of our conspiracy-minded friends is that, well, they're going to punish us. They've done it in the past. So that's a little bit more than speculation. They intend to punish us. Now, if punishment's not on their mind, then why wouldn't they take this money that is available, and they have done it in the past, and spend this on public safety?
Yes. Yeah, that's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. And it makes it clear that these people, their primary concern is not public safety. Their primary concern is public funding. And that, to clarify that is your tax dollars in their pocket to do what it is they want to do with that money. And as you pointed out before the show, Dale, this money, when it's transferred over to the sheriff's department, the commissioner's office doesn't get 10%. And when Dale told me that, I went, oh my God, I can't believe that. And no wonder they don't even get to spend $100,000 of this $1 million. Yes. So, take this for what it's worth, people, and understand what it means about these people, because every single one of those people on that board, with the exception of Peggy Goodwin, is a levy supporter, and is flogging that thing to death, constantly whipping that horse, and so here we are. You should take this as your marching orders going forth, that we need to get people who are thinking basically 180 from these people.
Well, okay, so let's look at how this fits into the future. I want you to note that at the end, when Peggy Goodwin was talking, that motion died for lack of a second. There wasn't anybody willing to even second it, so there'd be any discussion. They're not going to discuss this, okay? So that's right. That. Not going to do it. And there is no money in it for the commissioners, because they don't get the 10% skimmed off the top if they do it this way. They are only
Right.
interested, the only answers that they have are to raise your taxes. And if they were so interested, it's an emergency. Remember what an emergency it is? Well, we need this law enforcement because of the children and because of the patrols and because of the
Right.
people who are dying in their homes, that are dying on the streets. You're driving through Cave Junction and everybody's dying everywhere you go. No, no, we can't
Yes.
spend this money because one of the numbers they talked about was $8 million sitting in the road fund. And as
Isn't
people
that
went
amazing?
and said, hey, what's more important to you? Striping on the road or public safety for a year?
Right. Yes, it's insanity, and one of the things that Simon Hare threw out as rationale for not doing this later on was that if they took the money away from public works and it didn't go into the roads for that 1 year, that more people would die as a result of that than died as a result of a lack of the safety funding.
He really did say it.
Wow. He
Now,
did say that.
when was the last time that you heard of any auto accident, let's say, because we're talking about the roads, that happened because of loose gravel or a missing guardrail, as opposed to something like drunk driving, Simon, or some
right.
other kind of lunatic
Yeah.
thing that the driver did?
Right. Yes. Now this is. Listen, I don't know what else to say about this. We all need different representation here in this county. There isn't any question about it. Any pretense that there was that these people were actually for public safety funding ripped away by this video right here.
Now, we're not talking about everybody and their brother. There were some good people on the other side, of the losing side, but the other side on this, okay? We're talking about the leadership of this thing. Let's go back and find out how things would have been different. Let's suppose now we're all the way back during the primaries. And there was one person more than any other that had the best chance of potentially winning. That was Sandy Casanelli. Whether you like her a lot or not, she always voted down public safety levies because, not because she's not interested in policing. Don't be stupid, okay? And none of our audience is. But because she said this is not what the people want, and we shouldn't be, you cannot balance all the needs of the county on the backs of the property owners, of which she is one, and so is Mike. I am not, but I'm a renter, and my rent would go up. And she says you cannot tax us into prosperity. So she was the strongest next candidate. She was very close. She was just a couple of points away from Mark Gatlin. You remember, Simon Hare did not get a majority, but he went up against Mark Gatlin in a one-on-one confrontation, and it almost was with Sandy Casanelli. Now, would she have won if she was up against Simon Hare? I would have voted for her above Simon Hare. I didn't vote for either one of them, but I sure as heck wasn't going to vote for Mark Gatlin, which would have been worse than Simon Hare.
No question about it.
No question. So let's go back to what put her in that position. There were some people who decided, we didn't know it at the time, but there were some people who decided to run for office for vanity reasons.
Yeah.
One guy wanted to promote his business. Well, this is a very inexpensive way to promote my business, better than advertising. Are you kidding me? No, that's true. That's why he did it. He only showed up at one time at the Courier's gathering. You know, that fake thing where they act like they're asking real questions, okay? He was there. There was another guy who wanted to draw attention to one personal thing that he had going on in his life, and he wanted, everywhere he would go, he would speak for an hour if you let him, and he only went to one thing, the Courier, and he talked about it there. And the other guy was trying to sign up business during the meeting, okay? Now, if either one of those guys, if their votes had gone to Sandy, and in one of them, they all would have gone to her. She could have been up against Simon Hare. Now, we don't know how that would have turned out, but let's imagine it was Sandy Casanelli. This would have had a second.
Absolutely, it would have.
And Pat Fahey was leaning in that direction. Here's the bottom line on that. And I'm going to have to, I told Mike he's going to have to get in there today, buddy, because I'm really
Oh, I will.
And the sheriff would then have $1 million more specifically for patrols, because these are road dollars,
Right.
patrols. Okay, so it can't be used for any other thing. None of it would go to the commissioners. Oh, no, I hate that. Yeah, well, oh, yes, you do.
Well, and listen, what is the one thing that they've been harping about that everybody wants? Patrols. So this would have fit perfectly.
So for the next time when people are running for office, you know that I am, okay? But the next time people are running for office, look, this is deadly serious, really life and death serious, because this next time in campaign 2016, those people aren't going to take office till 2017. There's 2 of them. That's how you make a difference. You get 2 of them in there. They're thinking somewhat alike. There have been 2 that are thinking alike. They're just thinking the wrong way, okay? As is happening now. Keith Heck and Cheryl Walker, are you happy? Okay, so you remove those guys and you replace them with a couple of, I don't know, people who are actually conservative with money and really do want the money to go to the sheriff and not into the...
Or 2 other people that would have been thinking the same way that Peggy Goodwin was on that board. You know, the thing is, isn't this an interesting situation? The one person on there who was not for the public safety levy voting for public safety money, and the rest of the board on there who were levy supporters not voting for public safety money. What does this tell you, people?
Wow, that's a really good one, Mike. See, he's hot. Okay, I told him be ready. He's ready, buddy. So, okay, so they'll take office in 2017. Then Simon Hare runs again in 2 years after that. One person. Okay, one person's good, but it's not as good as 2, obviously. Okay, because if one person like Simon Hare says, "I'll never vote for more public safety money if it doesn't mean money in our pocket," you don't need to worry about that, guys. So you got 2. They're saying, "Hey, I'm really interested. I'm actually interested in public safety." Okay, and they're not lying to you and stuff. Then the next time that they're going to be up will be 4 years later. Look, we're talking about the better part of a decade. The better part of a decade where 2 people can make a difference. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, what a lovely opportunity to do my single issue thing. Why, I think I'm going to get in there and I'm going to vote next time for a 99-cent levy. Hello to one of you, you know who you are. Okay, or I think I'm going to vote because it'll promote my business again. That'll be inexpensive. Or I think I'll vote and we'll look back at the past and talk about something that I had going on in my life, and I just want the publicity. Please be serious this time.
Yeah, that's right. Do not. Yeah, don't waste our time with that. We don't have time for that. It's like Dale just pointed out. It's going to be another 10 years is going to go by in the blink of an eye. We need to do something about this. We can actually make real progress in this county, but we need to have people that are engaged and actually want to do the right thing. We don't need more politicians as usual. So, I mean, if you're going to promote a website or, some other stupid reason, then don't bother. And guess what? We're going to find you out and we're going to run you out of town.
Well, I don't know about this, but I tell you this.
No, but I'm speaking figuratively. I'm saying, we're going to out you. We're going to expose you for the fraud that you are. So don't do it. Don't even try it.
There's 2 positions. If you want to run for the other one, that's on your conscience. But if you run against me in this position, I'm going to take you apart. Oh, I'm serious, buddy.
Yeah.
I go to more meetings than all the rest of the candidates put together. I'm ready to hit the ground running the very same day. And I may ask you at some kind of debate, what happened today with the county commissioners that was extremely important to the future of Sunny Valley or Merlin or extremely important to Illinois Valley? And if you don't know, you're going to look foolish.
Yeah.
Don't do this time. This is deadly. He could have $1 million in patrols. That'd be really helpful. These guys aren't going to vote for that. They don't even want to discuss it. They didn't even want to discuss it.
Yeah, and that's called out of touch, tone deaf, as it were, as it relates to the majority of the constituency here in the Valley. Crazy.
You better have your ducks in a row or beavers in a row. You better, okay, so we try to be a little funny. I try. You better be ready because this is a deadly serious time, buddy. We're actually talking about, in some cases, life and death. And they're more interested in emergency strafing and giving this stupid reason of as many people die on the road because of road conditions.
No, that was just plain silly. That was just plain silly. And there was some really ticked off people at this budget committee. I'm assuming there are going to be some other videos.
Yes, as fast as I can work on it. I look forward to
faster, Dale, faster.
I look forward to a 3-day weekend because I get a chance to work. That's the kind of commissioner I'm going to be, buddy. Okay.
Oh, what? You're not going to go down and hang out at Boatnick?
Oh, no. Okay, Boatnick is a wonderful thing, but while you're there and you're, oh, hi, how are you? This, I love you. While you're there, you're not getting the work done.
Right. Yes, that's true.
While you're traveling off to Washington, D.C., and come back and say, nothing got done, hey, don't spend our money that way. Stop it. Remove yourself from these groups. Well, this will make us look bad in the eyes of the other county. It's too bad.
Yeah, so what?
Oh, well,
No,
they may get things
yeah,
we won't. No, they're not going to. Congress is not going to say, well, we've finally decided to turn over the forest to everybody but Josephine County because they didn't come to this meeting. Don't be stupid and stop setting yourself up, Simon Hare, to run for the next office. We're not interested. If you're not interested in this office, stop today. Let's take all that money that could be, you add up that money and that'd be one more patrolman just with the money the commissioners are throwing away on memberships.
Right. And it should be understood by everybody who's watching here. The motivation, Simon's motivation, Keith's motivation, Cheryl's motivation, all these people, all their motivations as it relates to not voting or not supporting Peggy's idea on the funding, it has to do with then that will take pressure off the voters. They will feel less, tragic need for law enforcement, and therefore it'll be more difficult for them to extract money from those people's pockets. And
well,
that's what
here's
this whole thing is about.
Here's proof of that. So they had this meeting. I mentioned this to you, I think, once in the past. They had this meeting in Cave Junction with one of the U.S. senators who came by to brief the commissioners. There were going to be 2 commissioners. Of course, I go when there's 2 commissioners and they're talking about county business. When I arrived, there was like, oh, you came. I said, yeah, it's a bit of a ride, but here I am. Oh, well, I don't think Simon's going to be here. And I said, well, it was noticed as a public meeting, and I think he is going to be here. Simon comes up to the door, and he sees that I'm sitting there. They're going to talk with the senator. Now, so what's at stake here? So Simon backs out of the door and stands outside, and then they say to me again, you are not allowed here because this is now no longer a public meeting. Because Simon Hare is standing a couple of feet outside the door. So that's okay. I didn't get the videotape, but I heard what happened because there are people in that room who don't like the county commissioners. So they told me, here's what happened. The other guy that was there, Don Reedy, he took the senator, the U.S. senator, to task. And he said, stop telling us that we're going to get this money. Do you realize we're trying to get a levy passed? And if you say that you're doing your job, then we can't do ours of passing a levy at any cost.
Yes.
Well, the senator didn't stop. But this is what, they're willing to lie, cheat. I'm not making this up. They're willing to do anything.
They are not interested in taking any of the pressure off. They want you to feel like you're living in the Old West, that the murderers are just a couple of steps from your door, that your death is somehow imminent because you're not voting for the levy. And they're going to continue with that. I think they're going to continue to oppose funding measures like the one that we just saw.
$1 million.
$1 million, and dedicated to patrolling.
Yes.
Dedicated.
Only
on
to
top
patrolling.
of what they already have.
By law.
And they could, right, and they could take some of the money that they're putting on patrolling and suck that back into the jail and keep more people in the jail at the same time. You see how that works?
They did it 2 years ago. They could have done it last year, but they didn't.
Yes.
Why didn't they do it last year?
Same reason. Listen, you know what? You have to understand. Stop thinking that these people care about you. They don't care about you. They just want your money. And we have to stop giving it to them. We have to make them understand that we've got their number, and then we have to call them out at every opportunity, and then we have to replace them with extreme prejudice, like by a 60-40 vote, preferably.
Well, I thought you were going to say a 30-30. That's another kind of way of voting.
Yeah, that's a different thing. I don't go there.
It couldn't be clearer. Other than what happened, they didn't even talk about it. They weren't even willing to talk about it, and they've done it, and it is legal, and it's okay, and it's a slight difference in the amount of road dollars that we have. So when they say to you, "Oh, the prime reason for government," they can't say the prime reason for government is keeping you safe with law enforcement. To these guys, the prime reason for government is excellent-looking striping on the road. Oh, Dale, you're exaggerating, because what about the bridges? You know, really?
No, you know what? Yeah, this is
They're not
just
using it for the bridges.
Yeah, no, this is just really sad. This is just a really sad thing. But listen, I'm glad that they're doing this in front of a camera somewhere so people can see. They don't care. They don't care if you have law enforcement. They don't care about any of that. As a matter of fact, this is a clear indicator that there's another levy already in the works. Because why would they care about this? The 10% has to be some motivating factor, but a larger motivator than that is that this $1 million and whatever would be that they could get from it is not enough to make a difference in the PERS in the red situation that they have. They need real money, and in order to do that, you have to pass a levy, and in order to do that, you cannot take $1 million worth of hurt off of us.
Well, they would have gotten out of this last levy almost $1 million. They would have got $900,000 to spend any way they wanted to. Now, right. When you're talking about they don't care, we have a second video for you. Now, this is from a slightly different perspective, angle of the camera and everything else. Here is, this is about what happens when you have liars and cheaters. I think we've proven that to you. In office, and they're willing to break state law because they're simply not interested in following the law. Play that one.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. You were all solemnly warned about what the rules are about a budget committee. And you were probably told that if you broke those rules, that this whole process might be brought under some kind of scrutiny, that it could potentially be invalid. So you might want to know that half of your members have violated that law. And 2 different meetings. 2 commissioners, Simon Hare and Keith Heck, were talking about the budget in a meeting in the little back room, outside of your presence. And all 3 commissioners were doing it at a separate meeting. And in addition to that, I'm pretty sure the finance director knew that if he's up and awake while they were proceeding to do that. So they'll say later, oh, that Dale Matthews, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just a liar, as J.J. Schofield said. Mr. Matthews, you lie all the time. To which I responded, you're a good public servant. So we have the videotape. The county has the record. It's a matter of public record. Therefore, this budget committee and its conclusions could possibly be invalid. Everything you've done, because you, Mr. Brungbach, obeyed the rules. The commissioners did not. They broke state law. Last time I was up here, I said that when I went to the elected officials compensation committee, I had a question, and J.J. Schofield tried to stop me from asking the question. Your budget officer, your finance director, said, well, the questions aren't allowed at those. Well, I sure look stupid because I was asking a question at a meeting where questions weren't allowed. Yeah, I look pretty stupid, except that that's a false statement. I have the videotape, of course I'm the only one with a videotape, of all of those meetings for the last couple of years. Questions have always been allowed. I was allowed to ask the question, someone was just trying to stop me from asking the question. And I did ask my question. So then you need to ask yourselves, can we trust our budget officer because he did not tell you the truth? Now you're not going to question this because rubber stamp committees do not question things. Last time we were through this, Simon Hare had mentioned at a public meeting that the sheriff had been padding his budget. And when I brought that to the budget committee, you weren't interested in hearing about that. And I think 5 out of 6 of you were there. You don't want to ask the answer to that question. Padding the budget? Budget committee? I don't see any match, do you? Go ahead and approve this. Don't worry about breaking the law. Don't worry about whatever I said. You can just go look at the records for yourself or listen to the official county recordings, and you can see for yourself what actually happened.
Well, Mike, it's gotten to the point where they truly, honestly, just don't care anymore.
Well, I mean, when you can do something with impunity, then I guess you might as well just do it.
If you have no moral character, yes.
Well, yeah, but you know what? Here's the problem: is that you bring some guy in off the street who just doesn't have any experience with this in the past, and you put him into this process, and then you lay out the example in front of him that we can go ahead and do this and this and this and this and this, and it doesn't matter. I know that the law technically says that that's not okay, but when you steep somebody in this sort of an example of this sort of thing, what are they supposed to do? After a while, this should just become second nature to people, and then you just get a perpetual motion machine of violation. And so if you want to fix that, you're going to have to put people in there that care about that.
Yes, and the commissioners, the ones that we keep catching lying, and I mean, even look, if you have any questions about it, Keith Eck answered your questions. I know we're breaking the law. He admitted it, and I don't care. He said it 3 times. He knows. There's no question. He's admitted that he knew they were breaking the law, and he doesn't care. And I don't mean laws like things that we think shouldn't be obeyed, crazy laws. I mean laws that are there to protect us. Laws that when the county commissioners share a map with us about something in which we're interested, and the map, the legend on the map, it's supposed to be blue and green and yellow. It's black, black, and black. And the map is black on black. So you're looking at a black page, and you can barely discern the legends are black, black, black. You can't read the words. You can just see the squares, the little slightly less than black squares and the slightly darker than black squares. This is what they shared with us. Now, if that's okay with you, by all means, go vote for these same kind of guys again. I don't approve.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And they don't care, what you can glean from the papers that they put out. And listen, this is all done. These guys are in their own little society. I know I've said this a million times before. These guys are in their own little society, in their own little bubble, and they only care what's happening inside that bubble. And you exist for the sole purpose of financing what goes on inside their bubble. That is the only value that you are to them. Otherwise, if they did care about you, they would have, knowing that the levy had just failed and that the last chance to add some money to public safety was to consider what Peggy Goodwin brought forward.
And they've done it before.
Right, and they didn't do it. So, there's only one conclusion to draw from that.
It's inescapable. Well, roads are important. We know that. And there still would be, like 7/8 of the money left.
Yes.
So?
Yes, and that's an interesting point, because with $8 million sitting in there.
That's what they said.
The $1 million coming out would not be, it's not like you're taking all the money out of the road fund. And that, I believe that $8 million, isn't that over and above what their budget is? This is what they had left over when they didn't.
Yes, it's in reserve, just in case.
Yes. Yeah.
Really? Didn't they say this was an emergency? The governor might have to come marching in here with all of her gay friends, and they're going to take over, whatever. Come on now. This is an emergency. You've got to do this. Oh, God will damn you if you don't, and all the rest of this stuff.
There's Dale and his backwoods homophobia there.
Oh, man, no way. Okay, but I know what people say about her. Okay, so all these horrible things will happen. Well, the state will take over, given the current situation. Well, never mind. Anyway, the point is, they told us this was an emergency, and and Cheryl was blubbering. She truly was. Oh, the children, and I've got a patriotic family. Shut up.
Well, so, why wasn't she bending somebody's ear saying, hey, you need to consider taking this $1 million and putting it over here for the safety of the children?
She wasn't there.
Yeah, right. But she didn't show. How come that kind of thing is not happening?
Right.
She could have influenced one of these other people that was on that committee. She certainly could have done that.
Well, one of the things that happened when they were having those little backroom meetings with Cheryl, the little backroom meeting, one of the instructions they gave to their own staff person was, once they came up with an illegal quorum discussion, not just quorum of commissioners, quorum of the budget committee, once they came up with that illegally, they tasked one of their members to go lobby the rest of the budget committee to do this illegal thing involving that person and their illegal behavior as well. This just doesn't stop. And this is not exaggeration. This is a matter of public record. They don't care. I know we're breaking the law, and I don't care, is what he said. Now, if you care, then please talk to some of your friends who are running for vanity reasons and explain to them, do that in a few years, not this time, please.
Yes. Yep, agreed.